First up, let's talk about the 2021 D. Washington Crossing the Delaware quarter. This coin was made in Denver, and it shows a very important moment from American history. On the back of the coin, you'll see a strong image of General George Washington standing tall in a boat, leading his troops across the Delaware River during the American Revolutionary War. This moment happened in December 1776, and it was a turning point that helped the American forces gain momentum. The design captures Washington with his sword out, showing leadership and bravery, which makes this coin not just valuable, but also meaningful. Even though this quarter is fairly new and a lot of them were made, more than 865 million, to be exact, some special versions are worth big money. Most of the 2021 D quarters you'll find in your change are just worth 25 cents. But collectors are always on the lookout for coins with errors. These are the coins that were made with mistakes at the U.S. Mint, and those mistakes can make the coins very rare and valuable. One of the most talked about errors is the smooth edge rim. Normally, quarters have little ridges along the edges, called reeding. But in some rare cases, the machine at the mint didn't form these ridges properly. As a result, the coin has a smooth edge instead. This kind of mistake can happen if the coin wasn't pressed hard enough, or if there was something wrong with the machine. Even though it's a small detail, collectors love these kinds of errors. A smooth edge rim quarter from 2021 can be worth as much as $150, depending on its condition. Another interesting error found on the 2021 D. Washington Crossing the Delaware quarter is called the crown die chip. This happens when a small part of the die, the tool that stamps the coin, breaks off during the minting process. When this happens, it leaves behind a raised bump or extra piece of metal on the coin. For this specific coin, the chip shows up on George Washington's head, making it look like he's wearing a crown. That's why collectors nicknamed it the crown die chip. Even though it's a small error, it makes the coin unique, and some of these coins have sold for up to $70 online. But there's another way these coins can be worth even more. If you have a 2021 D quarter that is in perfect or near perfect condition, it could be worth hundreds of dollars, even without an error. Coin collectors grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of 70 means the coin is in perfect shape, like it just came out of the mint. Coins with a grade of 68 or 69 are also extremely valuable, especially if they have sharp details, no scratches, and a bright shine. A 2021 D quarter with a grade of MS 69, which stands for Mint State 69, has sold for as much as $995. That's nearly $1,000 for one single quarter. So how can you tell if your coin is worth that much? First, check for any visible errors, like a smooth edge or the die chip on Washington's head. You might need a magnifying glass to spot some of the smaller mistakes. Next, look at the overall condition of the coin. If it looks shiny, has no scratches, and still has a lot of detail, it might be worth sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. These are trusted companies that professionally grade coins and give them a score. Once a coin is graded, it's easier to know its value and even sell it to collectors. Even if your quarter doesn't have an error or isn't in perfect shape, it's still a cool coin to keep. The Washington Crossing the Delaware design is bold, historic, and unique to the year 2021. Most coins from this series have the image of Washington on the front, but this one features him in action, showing a key moment from our past. It stands out from other modern quarters and is already becoming a favorite among collectors. So the next time you're going through your spare change or checking your pockets, take a second to look at your quarters. You never know, one of them might just be a rare 2021 D with an error or in mint condition, worth far more than 25 cents. With a little luck and a sharp eye, you could discover a coin that's worth hundreds, or even close to $1,000. Let's move on to the next exciting coin on our list, the 2022 D. Maya Angelou U.S. Women Quarter. This coin is part of the American Women Quarters program, which began in 2022. The program celebrates remarkable women who made a significant impact in American history. Maya Angelou was chosen to be the very first woman featured in this special series, and the coin honors her life and legacy. Maya Angelou was a famous poet, author, and civil rights activist. She inspired millions of people around the world with her words and strength. The design on the back of the coin shows Maya Angelou with her arms stretched out, and behind her is a bird in flight and rays of sunshine. The image was inspired by one of her most famous works, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. It's a powerful and beautiful design that stands out among modern coins. The 2022 D version of this quarter means it was minted in Denver. Just like with the Washington Crossing the Delaware quarter, millions of these were made and are in everyday circulation. But once again, certain error coins and coins in perfect condition can be worth a lot more than face value. One of the most well-known errors on the 2022 D Maya Angelou quarter is what collectors call the drooling George. This error appears on the front side of the coin, where George Washington's face is. Because of a small die chip near his mouth, it looks like there's a drop of drool hanging down. It may sound a little funny, but this tiny flaw has made these quarters very desirable to collectors. Depending on how clear the error is and what condition the coin is in, the drooling George quarter can be worth anywhere from $500 to as much as $1,900. Another rare and interesting error is called the wart-on nose. Like the drooling error, this one is caused by a die chip as well. But this time, the chip appears on George Washington's nose, creating a small raised bump that looks like a wart. While it's a small mark, it's very noticeable to coin experts and collectors. Coins with this error can also sell for several $100s, especially if they are uncirculated or in excellent condition. Aside from these error coins, high-grade versions of the Maya Angelou quarter are also valuable. Coins are graded by professional companies on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin that's graded MS68 or MS69 is considered almost perfect, with sharp details and no marks or damage. These coins are very hard to find in everyday circulation because most coins get scratched or worn over time. If you happen to find a 2022 D Maya Angelou quarter in such condition, or if you've been lucky enough to save one from a fresh roll, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In fact, one of these high-grade coins sold for as much as $3,120 at auction. Now, how can you tell if your Maya Angelou quarter is worth more than 25 cents? First, examine both sides of the coin carefully. Look for any unusual bumps, extra metal, or odd shapes around Washington's mouth and nose. Those could be signs of the drooling or wart errors. Next, check the overall condition. If the coin still has its original shine, no scratches, and the images are sharp and clear, it might be worth sending to a grading company like PCGS or NGC for professional evaluation. Even if your coin doesn't have an error or isn't in mint condition, the 2022 D Maya Angelou quarter is still a special piece to collect. It marks an important moment in U.S. coin history, the beginning of a series that honors American women and their contributions. Plus, the design is one of the most artistic and meaningful we've seen on a U.S. quarter in years. So next time you're going through your change, pay attention to any 2022 quarters. Look for the Denver Mint mark, a small D, on the front of the coin, and take a closer look at George Washington's face. A little chip or raised bump might mean your quarter is one of the rare and valuable error coins. And if it looks especially shiny and perfect, it might be worth getting it graded. Who knew that something as small as a quarter could be worth up to $2,000 or more? It just goes to show that there are treasures hiding in plain sight, right in our pockets and piggy banks. All it takes is a little attention to detail and a bit of luck to turn your spare change into something truly valuable. Coins are more than just currency, they're pieces of art, history, and sometimes, hidden treasures. Whether it's a modern quarter with a unique error or a vintage coin with a storied past, each has its own tale to tell. Remember, always check your change. That ordinary-looking quarter might just be worth a fortune. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare and valuable quarters, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more numismatic adventures. Until next time, happy collecting.